Pablo here. I'm going to briefly go over some of the tips and tricks I could think of right now to help some of you newer players deal with our war. Some of these are moderately either, I guess some of them are common knowledge and some of them are a little more advanced knowledge of ways that you can get around in our state of war, which is just kind of unfortunate now, especially as we currently have a player base that is largely Keep 21 and a few select tyrants that are basically pay to win to keep 26 to keep 30 level. And so these are some ways to play around them and make them waste a lot of resources and time while surviving. So right here, usually when I log in, one of the first things I check is my shield. I just check to see if this shield right here, this time left is going to pop up at a time when I think that I'm going to be busy. So at least I'm kind of managing it. If you're to manage any timer in this game, the most important one right now, especially in our state of war, is your shield. Like if you want to optimize, you can, have all your troops train at the right time so they all pop right on troop training. You can gain power at the right time and lots of other things. But this is definitely the most important timer, because just getting a bunch of resources rated sucks, but having to deal with the troop training or troop healing is just brutal. So if it makes you guys feel any better, I also fucked up on this once. The past, about a week and a half ago, I fucked up my shields and basically zeroed about 60k of each one of my troops. Oink caught me out. I forgot to shield. I was busy doing something, and the thing is I was on all day. I was on so much that I just assumed that I would have a shield on forever, instead of immediately checking my shield just to double check to see, where am I at, right? That's just really important, just to make you guys feel a little bit better about it. All right. And so shields are just kind of really expensive and inconvenient in the beginning of the game. You're largely going to get the main portion of your shields from alliance coins, especially starting off. Here are all the alliance coins and different things you can get with it. You can go ahead and buy these bubbles when you're planning on pushing or planning on gathering a lot of resources and stuff. An 8-hour shield will help. And there's no shame in blowing all your resources on either troop training or I'm assuming Seawatts or Zangors. Nothing else is really worth troop training. And just sitting there and waiting until either you have some more resources to get more shields, or just continuing to ghost, or just continuing to be bait and waste their time. That's probably more valuable than trying to push and letting someone like Yaldorf catch more resources for free. And so this is going to be your primary and easiest simple way to get shields. The next way to get shields that's pretty easy. Also, everyone get Warpstone mine. This is absolutely broken. I get 17 Warpstone every day. I'm going to collect a couple over, but just in case people don't lock in and if I forget, this is busted. I mean, just being able to collect, 17, 200 Warpstone a day. That's a big portion of a shield if you need it. In terms of spending Warpstone, if you ever can, it's always the 10-day speed ups. But I mean, certain things are necessity. Sometimes teleports, especially early, are very, hard to come by, as well as teleports. as well as these resets are really helpful, especially the Vanquish skill reset that will help you reset for LWL. I already posted a video that somebody else created on that topic. And so those are like 2 ways you can get, shields. You can get them from your line store, and you get them from your Warpstone mine. I would recommend kind of saving up. If you think that you don't have many, save some up so you can have consecutive days with shielding. It's better to have consecutive days, like 3 or 4 straight days of shielding, where you can build up as many resources as you need and spend them all right away, than to have like 2 days of shielding here and 2 days of shielding there, and then like random 1-day gaps where you're entirely unshielded. That's actually the worst, because you're not actually going to be able to build up a large enough resource pool for upgrades. Like, I know you guys aren't at this level. Some of you guys are actually, but some of these upgrades cost an insane amount. I'm just going to go to my champion ritual, because I know some of these are like super expensive. 4 million of each resource, 2 million. I got to find something that's like cracked. Unholy rituals. I know my march speed is like fucking 40 million of each resource. And like, again, like march speed for me at this point isn't a priority. I've finished most of the armies and stuff. But that's the second way. So it's Alliance Store, Warpstone Mine, and then the third one is this Raiders Market. Raiders Market is kind of hard to be blowing some of these spare resources and stuff. But once you get a better feel of the game and the items and what these coincide with, you're going to be a lot more comfortable with using them to basically pick up. One of the most important things to pick up is the shields. Don't waste it on these like favors, because like if I were to spend 50 for a favor of Throg, it's only going to give me 1 favor of Throg, first of all, which is absolutely trash. Yeah, don't ever spend these on this. Don't spend it on the 3-hour speed ups. I know 3-hour speed ups sound good. Like starting off, I used to spend some Alliance coins on 3-hour speed ups when I first started. And then I realized that you just get so many of them, it doesn't even matter. 3-hour speed ups on the heal speed ups. Don't buy heal speed ups unless you absolutely need them. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, so I was going to just go in here real quick and go to my military tree and see how we have all these different troops. Some of the troops actually, like this one doesn't matter, but some of the troops actually start to require certain items with their upgrade. So, for instance, Captured Gore Beast, these Gore Beast items are only needed for Gore Beasts. So I know that I'm going to need 750 of it. So, like, you could always go back and check really quick. Like, oh, I want to get a shield and it costs 100 and I have 800. Well, that's going to push me under for Gore Beasts. And that's like something you're going to have to get used to in a way. But again, like one of those more advanced strategies that will help you so much, because there's literally nothing else that these items can be used for after a certain point. Like once you start stacking them up, like I'll just randomly hit an army and pick up some extra Captured Gore Beasts, and there's nothing I'm going to do with it. I constantly spend this one in order to get more shields. Some of the other ones, Unstable Magics, you see I have 750, and there's all this extra that I can go and I could buy 1 or 2 shields when the shield thing pops up in the Raiders Market. Largely, I don't want to say for certain, but largely with the build that we're going to be running, almost all of these are not going to be used. There are some that actually go into buildings too. I'm not sure if Lightning Essence does or doesn't, but yeah. So like even if I go in my maximum, this is my maximum ritual spec right now. I get some ritual speed from Helm, some ritual speed from Cuirass, and ritual speed from Sabaton. So just to show you, even in my max spec, and I have like tons of ritual speed from my prestige points and everything, this is still a freaking 64-day upgrade. That's a lot of speed ups. Like, that's just a lot of speed ups to just go into training like one of these. And a lot of these, almost every single thing in the military rituals beyond this point kind of deviates from our general build. These are largely monsters. The only thing that's not is this Chaos Chosen, which I'm not sure how much we're going to be using because they're not even T5s. And like, I wouldn't worry too much about using some of these resources. Like, I use my freaking sacrificial slaves all the time because I know I'm only going to need 750 of them. What else? Oh, and then here, there are some more that are also hidden. Gores of Corn, don't require them. But for instance, Skull Mortars require offering of brass, but so does the, what is it? Does something else require offering of brass? Yes, here it is. This also requires offering of brass. So you have to be able to know that if you want to push down a tree, to have a fair idea of, just because you see it in one place doesn't mean it's not also in another place too. So with our build, again, almost none of this is going to be trained either. We're not going Flesh Hounds. We're not going Burning Chariots. We're not going Hell Slayers. We're not going Demon Princes. I mean, Alpaca uses Hell Slayers like all day. Or yeah, I think they're planning on using Hell Slayers. But again, like, they don't unlock until Keep 30. We're primarily as an alliance going to go all the way down this Zinch tree right here. And we're going to go into none of these. We kind of just stop here. You pick up Flame Gargoyles, which I personally haven't yet. And then you parlay instantly into these Bray Herds, into these Sons of Nilcheth. So these are the two, like, this is the main item that you want to make sure you're not trading. It's the Ice Encrusted Horns. These are a pain in the ass to get. Don't trade your Ice Encrusted Horns because you'll actually need them. Most of this other stuff, like, not the hugest priority. Like, for instance, this is this one right here. It is a undivided, and maybe it could be used as a tank, but because it's not infantry / undivided, and it's not Zinch undivided, it's kind of just going to deviate from our build. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So those are two ways that you can buy shields. And now let's go over how you can save shields. So right here, you see how I'm next to a friend of mine, and he is, he's bubbled right now, which is helpful to me because it gives me the ability to store troops in him. So right there. I'm just recalling the troops again, just to demonstrate. If I look at my troop upkeep right now, which is actually important at higher levels, you see that I have a positive, I get 119,000 food, but my upkeep cost is 95,000. Well, that's like a net positive. It doesn't, once you hit yellow, like overflow on your resources, you won't gain anymore, but you can still collect more than that. But essentially, if your troop upkeep goes negative, it's the only thing out of the resources that can go negative. It'll start taxing you every hour actually every minute that you have this, I don't know if it's every minute or every 10 minutes, but whatever amount of time that you have this negative, let's say this is higher than the 1019, it'll tax you. This is with like huge armies, like my troop power is 12 million plus whatever I was hiding in mild. And so it just recalled. And if I go back here, I can see that with my army now, my troop upkeep cost is 140 and my income is this. So it will actually push down my number of food constantly. So once you start hitting negative troop upkeep, what you do is you gather every other resource, and then the minute before you actually need the upgrade, you just go gather a bunch of food. Again, you could also cheat and pop some packs and stuff like that, but it's you kind of want to save packs for emergencies for the most part, or massive pushes. So like keep upgrades, like this is like 11 million of each resource, and I'm just blowing through resources right now. Anyways, now that I have my troops back, the first way you can ghost your keep. Okay, we're going to go over ghosting keeps. You take your troops and you basically put them all into your cave. And some of you guys, especially the lower level guys, get away with this very easily, can almost ghost their entire keep and just keep like their strongest troops and everything's protected, and like what, you lose like some marauders or something. For me though, my cave isn't big enough to fit my entire army. It's kind of a pain at certain levels. Kind of creates a different play style, and this is also one of the reasons why sometimes, keep 21s that aren't massive also can do a lot of damage, and with the right rituals can fight pretty well. Because if they if they can cave everything, then they'll never take troop healing costs. And all you have to do is press one button when somebody's attacking you. You cave, you TP out. Okay, they stole the resources that you took, but you just got a net negative loss. I mean, the TPs that you spent to go raid or whatever. But if you don't take any troop damage, you're chilling. So see how this is an excess right here? What you can do is, with the rest of it, I can click on a friend, and I've already messaged Mild, and kind of have an idea that he's probably going to be shielded for at least the afternoon or the rest of the night for me until it's morning for him again. So if I go in and I like reinforce him, I can send all my troops, and you see how it doesn't get all of them? Okay. I could go here, put my cuirass on. That gives me a little more march cap. And, oops, go here. Put in all my troops right there. And then I could put in my Lord of Change, put in all my troops. I really think it'd be a waste if I put a march cap booster on this. But let's say I can send one march right here, reinforce all these troops in here, and then I do it again. Boom. And now, there we go. I am entirely ghosted. Okay, so basically, if somebody attacked me right now, let's say my shield has like 5 more minutes on it, has nothing else. If they attack me right now, I lose all these resources up here, which is actually a fair amount. I've been gathering all day. But, I mean, my troops don't take any damage. This doesn't take any damage. And the troops that are hidden in the mild don't take any damage. And if I know he's going to be bubbled, I can also send him my resources. Let's say here. I'm not going to send him all my resources. I need these resources so much. But I can send him my resources because the person with the bubble is the person that can protect the resources. So if somebody hits me and I've sent all my resources out to mild and he's just going to sit there, he can hold on to the resources. The best person right now in our alliance to hold resources is probably Ball, because Ball is actually our bank right now. If I were to want to play this a certain way, another option you could do is I could go, hey, I'm going to be sending a lot of resources to Ball, and either don't want to teleport or know you're going to be gathering while everything's going on. You could build an encampment next to him So while he's farming, he can just hold on to resources. This is something that LOB does sometimes. This is something that BLDA would do with Demon Bank down at 0-0. As an ex-BLDA member, I know all the banking strats. I've even like passed people off my banking materials while freaking in combat. Like, I'm in combat here. This guy found me and he's attacking me now. I'm going to go offload my resources because I'm right next to Ultra. Like, whoever, right? Just get them out. So you don't need any troops inside your war camp in order to pass resources. But you can only pass resources to, like, of course, people in your own alliance and stuff. I see Paka freaking parked his war camp here just to BM BLDA for bullying him all day. Funny. Another option, this isn't quite ghosting, but it's kind of a hack if you do it right and depending on what you do. Like, if we're in RVR, for instance, and you're just out of freaking bubbles and you're just like, I need to kind of ghost or something, you can go back to your region, because if they kick you, it will give you points. But if for whatever reason you're baiting or you have to, you have to be there for some reason, or you're like finishing the last of your points, I don't know what it is, but for some reason you're still there and you're out of bubbles and there's like no possible way to get bubbles and you don't want to invest Warpstone or whatever it is, right? You can take your troops and you can aim them at an army. And if I were to aim, gosh, I'll just recall these. If I aim all my troops at an army right now, they are essentially going to be protected. Wow, that's a pretty solid march. Not to brag or anything. And you see it's a 2-minute march. Not that big of a deal. Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be back in 4 minutes, so there's no point in doing that. Well, there's another thing. You can take your march and you can aim it all the way at something across the freaking map, and it'll take 2 hours to get back to you. So, like, let's say you're going, you're busy or whatever. This is another strategy, not the most common, but to ghost your keep. I don't have any troops, so they don't go slow. Only thing I have is my champion, who runs very fast. But essentially, that's the idea. You can hit something all the way across the map, and because of that, your troops will be marching, and they're hidden. Not only does this hide you from, being able to get hit and lose your troops, but it also will keep your troop upkeep low. As you can see, my troop upkeep is going to be 0. I have no troop upkeep because all my troops are actually on that giant march that's going to go hit that army right there. So those are just a couple of options that you have. I'm not like mad about this or anything. It's just really hard, like, as somebody who like works kind of during the day, and like, yeah, I could gather maybe more with time that I have than the average player, or hit more armies sometimes than the average player, depending on how busy I am. But in the same light, I don't really want to go into combat in the middle of work. And I won't go into combat in the middle of work just because, like, I'm not trying to look like a bum, like, at my job, playing a game with both my thumbs, looking at it, intensely, and, like, cussing out the screen when somebody zeroes me or something. So it's just hard because, like, someone like Galdorf, he's very careful, I mean, he's I would say he's one of the most careless people on BLDA, but still he's pretty careful. He's usually going to be bubbled or shrouded. That's another option. You don't have to bubble. You can also shroud, and shrouds like drop a lot from items and stuff. Like I have freaking 29 days worth of shrouds. You can go ahead and ghost your keep and shroud it, and they don't know if you're the one who is ghosting, or they don't know if you're the one who is receiving the troops and you're a giant big fat trap that like they think that they could solo march and they'll take permas on. So for instance, my watering hole, I could have like a ton of people stuff in my watering hole. Like you switch the script, and let's say I'm the one with the bubble and Mild's the one without the bubble. Because my freaking gores are inside of him on top of his, 59 million power. Somebody with like 59 million power is like, oh, he's got 59 million power, and they can't scout him because of the shroud. So they're going to like be overly confident and maybe try to solo march him. And they're going to run into his giant wall of Seawatts, and they're going to run into my gores throwing rocks at him the entire time. So really what makes and breaks a base defensively, to be honest, is largely the Seawatts. They are your lifeline when it comes to defense, and that's actually how you deal defensive permas. It's a fuck ton of Seawatts. Like, if I just drop Seawatts into him instead of the gores, it'd probably be more effective than me dropping just gores, just because that's just a really thick wall to hit through. And it's all about, making the Zangors go melee, because once the Zangors go melee, they do way less damage. So, I mean, there are a couple options that I have on here for you guys. Yeah, again, shrouds, like I was hitting some of these level 15 beastmen. I know we haven't been able to warbrand it because of the war very much, but shrouds are one of the common drops on beastmen. If I were to look at it really quick, please have a level 15 beastman right here. Wow, fantastic. Okay, it doesn't show it here, but I've definitely picked them up. There are also like other things that drop shrouds. I'm pretty sure I've definitely gotten shrouds on skeletons and stuff like that. So when we have giant war brands and we're hitting these skeletons, we're hitting these beastmen, you have a chance, like actually a pretty solid chance to save like, 600 warpstone here, 400 warpstone there. That's like free warpstone, because you don't have to buy that shroud. You don't have to buy that that bubble, whatever it is. I think that